When I started doing this, I actually started out as a leasing agent. Because of that, I got a very deep understanding of the world of real estate investing. I actually had a better understanding of the landlord-tenant dynamic before I even knew how to buy or sell a house. And through that, I learned that landlords' biggest concern are losing money. It tends to be less about gaining money and it's more about losing money. And a lot of that comes from the happiness of the tenant. You can get a bad tenant that will ruin your place. They'll complain about things all the time. They'll make things emotionally and financially difficult. And I learned that the real estate investors or landlords that do the best in this respect are the ones that have a set guidance of rules and they stick to them and do not deviate. They basically don't do favors for people. They have their credit checks in line, they have their landlord references in line, they have their employment checks in line. When something goes wrong, it's always fixed the same way. There is no lower credit than what they accept. Nobody other than that can get in. They have to income qualify. Some landlords don't even accept co-signers because they want the tenant to be able to afford all this on their own. They don't want to run the risk of getting a co-signer who is just as bad as the tenant themselves. I've seen landlords do favors for people who needed a break and they ended up getting burned by them 6 months later. Somebody couldn't pay their rent and turns out they couldn't pay their rent to the landlord either, or they were always behind and turns out they were always behind here. But the landlords that seem to follow the book or the rules that they have set always seem to do the best. They never let their tenants go month to month and put them in a bad leasing term. They never do favors and lose money. The move out process is always the same. Now, the good part to this too is they always go by the books to keep the tenant happy. When they move in, the place is always clean. It has always been professionally taken care of. All the holes are covered up and painted over.